larva. I will not let you destroy the legacy of our ancestors.
The best way I can possibly describe what I've played of Testament: The Order of High Human is that it's like Dark Messiah of Might and Magic directed by Tommy Wiseau.
Why did you ruin everything when we finally had a chance at destroying darkness in Tessara once and for all?
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
It's bizarre, slightly unsettling, often unintentionally funny, but overall not very successful at what it sets out to do. It has some great character art and interesting environments to trek through, and there does seem to be a robust physics-based magic system in the trailers that I only got a tiny taste of in this demo. But it's difficult to find much to praise here. As a writer and editor, I'll get my biggest pet peeve out of the way quickly. This is not a game that was written by anyone with a strong grasp of the English language. Inconsistencies, even in how the title is styled, abound. Sometimes high human is 2 words with no hyphen. Sometimes human is capitalized in the subtitles and sometimes it's not. The in-game encyclopedia that's supposed to introduce you to important world concepts is full of high school English test level errors in capitalization, punctuation, and basic grammar. There's a notice when you first get to the main menu that this game was made by a very small team of 15 people. I only wish one of them had been an editor.
You know what they say, love is blind.
And I definitely dig some small games made by scrappy underground indie studios. I have over 300 hours in Stardew Valley, which was made by one guy. And if Testament was merely lacking in some technical polish, I could probably ignore that, as long as there was worthwhile gameplay and a strong story underneath.
I told you you can't run away.
What?
Paradoxically, it's kind of the opposite. Everything runs great, and I didn't encounter any major bugs, not even in these tricky platforming areas, which are probably the most fun I had with the demo. But from the story to the basic combat mechanics, it simply doesn't hold up, and having a small team can't really excuse that.
How did I fall to this state?
You play as Aran, a character who is not introduced to you at all until much later, who wakes up after being kidnapped by some kind of evil treebeard. He's a high human, the very awkward and slightly eugenicsy name for this setting's immortal, magically gifted ruling class, and the former king of the land of Tessara. Somehow he's ended up without his powers and only a cheap sword to defend himself.
A common sword.
The reasons for this, again, are only explained later, usually through incredibly forced expositional monologues of Aran talking to himself about the stuff he already knew, but I, as the player, did not.
One of the Seeker's forbidden chambers lies beneath the Highlands. I need to break the sacred oath between high humans and the Seekers.
Eventually, we find out Aran's brother turned to darkness.
How do you like it, brother?
Possibly because his wife died, and pops out of a portal to mock you for being reduced to a mortal, give a quick evil villain speech, and vanish.
Let's see your futile struggle to change this realm's fate.
I was still unclear what was actually going on until maybe an hour into the demo, and I don't mean in the way where you're excited to uncover a mystery. It's more like picking up a novel that's had the first 4 chapters ripped out and trying to piece together the story from there.
The king of high humans, running away from a measly beast.
Maybe the final version will have a more complete intro. Maybe this isn't even the intended starting point. That would certainly help a lot. But okay, a kind of confusingly presented story and sloppy localization work would probably not be the biggest deal in the world if the combat were great. Sadly, it is not. Real-time, first-person swordplay that looks sort of Elder Scrolls-ish boils down to mainly doing the same combo over and over, then dodging out of the way of a telegraphed power attack from These guys are called halflings for some reason, and at this point, I had just decided to stop questioning the stylistic world-building choices so I didn't lose my mind.
On the halfling! On the halfling!
Testament pretends to have a combo system, but it doesn't really. Here's me precisely timing my swings like the tutorial tells you to. And here's me just spamming the left mouse button as fast as I can.
It's over.
The animations and damage dealt are identical.
I should be careful.
Archery is a bit more fun. Most enemies die to a single headshot, and I really like it when I'm rewarded for my Robin Hood accuracy that way. Stealth attacks, likewise, can one-shot goons and do a lot of damage to bosses, but the opportunities to use them are fairly limited. The couple of spells I got to play with, including a destructible barrier similar to Geralt's Quen sign in The Witcher, and a very, very slow life drain beam, are alright, but you have to put away your sword to use them. That made me miss Skyrim's more flexible combat system. And if you run out of arrows and mana potions, you're back to the same old boring melee routine. Ranged enemies will often just stand there dumbfounded and let you hack them apart if you close the distance with them. The AI is generally not very good. You can't even block or parry, at least not with the weapons I got to try out. There is a skill tree-based progression system as well, which lets you focus on melee, archery, or magic. It's fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
I hate to be a downer on something that seems like a real passion project from a small group of motivated developers, but I don't really see Testament the Order of High Human making a splash when it comes to first-person action RPGs. Some of these jumping and wall-running puzzles were actually neat, and maybe this demo wasn't a good representation of the release version. I'd be willing to give it another shot, but my hopes aren't high for High Human.
It's over.
For more first-person RPG news, don't miss out on our recent interview with Starfield director Todd Howard. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.